All right, 9.5. Factor x squared plus bx plus c. So this is the first step toward what we're working toward in 9.6 to be able to factor. These will be factoring things with a 1 in front, but eventually we'll be factoring things that have numbers in front and like other than just 1. But as a quick review for foiling, if you have something like x plus 4 and x minus 5, when we foiled, right, back in 9.2, you multiply the first terms by each other, and we get x squared. We multiply the outside terms by each other, and we would get minus 5x. We would do the inside terms and multiply them by each other, which would be 4x. Is this funny? Okay, I didn't think so. And then the last terms would be minus 20. And so we end up with x squared minus x minus 20 for that answer. So if you notice, this has produced something that looks kind of like the name of this section. So now we're going to be working backwards, okay? And we can always check our answers using FOIL. If you don't check your answer and it's wrong, you will get a 0 on the question. Because there's no excuse to get it wrong. Because you can check it. You will know if you are right or wrong when you check it. Is that understood? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, factoring x squared plus bx plus c. X squared plus bx plus c equals x plus p times x plus q. This is driving me crazy. Provided p plus q equals b and p times q equals c. So when we are choosing what's going here, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply together to give me c, and then when I add those same numbers together, they give me b. Okay, and sometimes we're going to end up with positives and negatives. Sometimes it'll be both negatives, sometimes it'll be just positives, and then a mix of them at times. Trying to see if this section does any. Yes, they do some negatives in here. Okay. So the easiest way to do this stuff really is just to honestly kind of just like jump into it. But there's one other thing that I want to point out first, kind of using an example with a table. So if I have something like, I'm going to use like an example that's already worked on in the book. So if I have x plus p times x plus q, so this is in factored form already. And then I've got x squared plus bx plus c. So that would be what it's multiplied through. This is going to be the signs of b and c. So we're going to look at how you would determine the sign so that you can also check that and determine which sign you need as far as that goes. So if I have something like x plus 2 times x plus 3, well, everything in here is positive. When I FOIL this, I would get x squared. It would be plus 2x and plus 3x, so that would be plus 5x. I'm just doing this quickly. Obviously, I'm not writing out all the steps. And then 2 times 3 is 6, so plus 6. So notice everything is positive. So B is positive and C. What's happening? C is positive. If I have x plus 2 times x plus, or well, let's just do it this way, minus 3. When I FOIL this, I would get x squared plus 2x minus 3x, so that would end up being minus x in the middle, and then minus 6. So notice in this case, both B and C are negative. If I have x minus 2 times x plus 3, this is going to give me x squared minus 2x plus 3x, so that's plus x, and then minus 6. So in this one, B is positive and C is negative. And then what if they're both negative? So if I have x minus 2 and x minus 3, this would give me x squared minus 2x minus 3x, so this would be minus 5x, and then plus 6. So in this case, B is negative and C is positive. So that just is kind of showing you what happens in those different situations, so that you can see based on what you have, what should your signs look like essentially. So basically we've got B and C are positive if P and Q are positive, so that was the first situation. B is negative and C is positive if P and Q are both negative, so that's the last situation. And then C is negative when P and Q have opposite signs. Okay, so C will be negative when there's opposite signs when you're multiplying them. Okay. But like I said, this section is really us working backwards, but this is just to help us pay attention to the signs so that we can start seeing which signs need to go in our factors when we do this. So, jumping into some problems, factoring the trinomial. And just so you know, this is a trinomial because it has 3 pieces, so trinomial, that's where it's coming from. So if you see that word, that's what that means. So for, I've got a squared plus 6a plus 8. So I want to factor this, okay, into 2 different sets of parentheses with what's in common with it. So what I'm looking at are, I need factors of 8. I'm going to write this one out. So factors of 8. So basically things that I can, or 2 numbers that I can multiply together that equal 8, that also add up. What is going on? What just happened? That add up to give a positive 6. That was weird. So what are 2 numbers that I can multiply to make 8?
4 and 2.
4 and 2. If I add 4 and I add 2 together, I get a positive 6, right? So then what we do is we come down here and we have 2 parentheses. It starts out with whatever your variable is in both of them. And then we write whatever those numbers are that we just found. So we said positive 4 and positive 2. So a plus 4 and a plus 2. and that right there would be factored. Now, we want to check it. Okay, so this is your answer, but we're going to check it. So I would multiply a times a, which is a squared, a times 2, so that's 2a. 4 times a is 4a, and then 4 times 2 is 8. And so then this ultimately gives me a squared plus 6a plus 8. And so I know that I did it right. Now, this section's going to be a lot easier, and obviously checking it's probably going to feel like it's being really, really redundant, which, one, it is. But it's good practice because obviously foiling was before spring break. But the other thing is it's really critical that you understand this now, because the next section there's numbers in front, and so it's not this easy to find the factors. It takes a lot more work to find them and to check them. And you don't want to get something. The most common thing that people get wrong on these problems are the signs. So that's something you've really got to watch for. But by checking it, that's going to be something that will help us so that we know we have it right. And you don't have to draw these little like lines every time. I usually don't. I'm just doing it right now so that we can see what's going on. 6. I'm going to change the variable because I don't really like the variable of s. So I'm going to change it to x. So x squared minus 10x plus 16. So in this case, I need two numbers that when multiplied together equal 16, but that when I add them together, they equal negative 10.
8 and 2.
Now, what would their signs need to be so that when I add them together, it's a negative number?
Negative 8.
And
Above
negative 8 plus 2 would be negative 6.
Both negatives.
Yep, both need to be negative. So this would be, we have our two parentheses, x minus 8 and x minus 2. So I check it. So I would get x squared minus 2x minus 8x, and then negative 8 times negative 2 plus 16. So that ends up giving me x squared minus 10x plus 16. So if you had said, negative 8 and positive 2, when you factored that back, you would have ended up with something totally different than what you started with, or when you FOILed it back. I say the words backwards. So you would know, like, hey, I did something wrong. So that's why it's so important to check it. I can't emphasize that enough. Okay? Eight. W squared plus 18w plus 56. So I need two numbers that multiply together to give me 56 that also add up to give me 18. So it seems like we don't know this one off the top of our head, and that's okay, because it's a good time I can show you another thing that will lead us into the next section. We probably won't do it tomorrow, but the next section. So if I have 56 and I know that I need two things being multiplied, but I can't figure out what it is that is working, because off the top of my head, I can't even think of it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to factor it out. So what number do I know goes into 56?
8. 56.
7 and 8.
1. Oh.
Okay, well, 1, yes, but I need something. It's an even number, so I know 2, right? So 2 and 28. So then I'm going to factor out, what do I know can come out of 28?
2 and 14.
2 and 14. What about 14? 2 and 7. So now I'm looking at some combination of these numbers that I can multiply together and then add to give me 18. I have to use all of these circled numbers. Okay? So if I multiplied all the 3's together, that would be, or all the 3's together.
Twos.
The 3 2's together, I would have 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. Well, that doesn't work. If I did the 2 times 7, that's 14. And then 2 times 2 is 4. Well, 4 plus 14 is 18. So the numbers that I'm going to use are 4 and 14. Okay? So sometimes you have to break it down and try to see it. I didn't see this one off the top of my head. That's 4 times 14 is not just something that I think of often, right? So I would have had to break this one down. So now we have these. We check the signs. So these are both positive. That means both of my numbers are going to be positive. So this is going to be W plus 4 and W plus 14. Now I can check it. So W times W is W squared. And then I've got 14W plus 4W plus 56. So W squared plus 18W plus 56. N squared minus 9n plus 14. So I need two numbers that multiply together to equal 14, and that when I add them together equals negative 9.
Negative 7.
Yeah,
Negative 2.
Negative 7 and negative 2. So I've got n minus 7 and n minus 2. Now, would it matter if I wrote n minus 2 and then n minus 7?
No.
Right. It does not matter the order, so if you write it the other way, that's fine. Not going to change anything. So then I check it. I've got n squared minus 2n minus 7n plus 14. So then that's n squared minus 9n plus 14. F squared plus 4f minus 32. So in this one, I don't think we've had one like this yet. I need two numbers that I can multiply by each other to equal negative 32 that add up to give me a positive 4.
Okay, negative and a positive.
Yep, 8 and negative 4. So the other thing about this, the way that we can know, okay, so we know 32 is 8 and 4, and we know that it has to be negative, which tells me one of these numbers has to be negative. The good way to decide which one is if the middle number is positive, then the bigger number has to be positive. If the middle number is negative, then the bigger number has to be negative. Okay, so if the middle term was negative, then 8 would have to be negative. But since it's positive, the 8 has to be positive because that's going to produce a positive 4 there when we do this. So this gives me f plus 8 and f minus 4. And then we check it. Get f squared minus 4f plus 8f minus 32. And so that we get f squared plus 4f minus 32. Is anybody annoyed with having to check them yet?
Me. Yep.
Never.
You will be now, But when it saves you from getting a problem completely wrong on the test or the quiz, you will be thankful. Okay? Like, there's no reason everyone can't get a 100 on this. Because you will know if it's right or wrong. And if you get it wrong, you can go back and fix it.
Bro.
You can't go looking back in your notes during the quiz of the test.
No, I just like using my notes for the homework.
As one should.
Yeah.
D squared minus 20D plus 99.
What?
I'm good.
Oh wait, it's actually easy. Wait.
99.
It's negative 11 and 9.
Take me now.
Wait, no, it's negative 11 and negative 9.
So I need two numbers that when I multiply together give me a positive 99, but when I add them together give me a negative 20. So 9 and 11 I know will add up to give me 20, right? But I also know that I need to be negative. The only way for that to happen is if both of these numbers are negative, because negative times negative is positive, and negative minus a negative is going to keep it negative, and so this is going to end up being D minus 9 and D minus 11. So we check it, we get D squared minus 11D minus 9D plus 99. So we get D squared minus 20D plus 99. I'll also tell you, obviously checking these ones is kind of like annoying because you're literally just like basically writing, more or less, writing back what you just undid. However, when you get to the ones in the later sections where there's a number in front, it won't look quite the same. Like, it's going to be more involved as you like are checking it, and then it's going to, again, you're going to ensure that you get it right, because the most common thing that's wrong are signs for people in these problems. Most people figure out what the numbers are that need to be multiplied by each other, but the adding up part is where they tend to get it wrong, okay? Because they'll put things should be positive and they should be negative, vice versa. So like I said, I understand that it's annoying with this, but it will help you, I assure you, okay? So the next one I want you to try on your own really quick to see how we're doing. So this is x squared plus 6x minus 72.
You sure?
Jones, what did you just do? Give me a second. Break your
Nope, no it was not.
Damn, snitching.
Will you fix it?
Okay.
Genius.
It's up
Sam
to
will
the-
break it.
Fixed, little less.
I'm
26.
at 13.
Where's the hole?
How do you guys
Good
get
roll.
Wait, how'd you get
I
13?
You wanna let the expert do it?
I'm not put it to rest.
You make a mess everywhere.
Yeah. Make it back.
Your fault.
Sam, just let the teacher do it.
Don't blame people, that's not nice.
Yes, that's That's not
If
tough,
anything
Sam.
bad happens to
Uncle
Sam
would
in math
not
class,
approve.
if anything bad happens to Sam in math class,
It's
Grace.
Abby. Grace. It's Abby's fault.
Guys, I need to go back to 5th grade. I can't figure out factors.
Yeah, bro, I'm on the table thing. I'm on the little
Grace,
tree.
how are you
Is it
on
not
13?
sharpening it?
I'm
Yeah,
on
Sam,
13.
There's something stuck in it.
No, just use 12 and negative 6.
It's
Yes.
12 and negative 6. She never actually.
Sick.
I forgot to check it.
Should you do 12 and... I mean, 12 and negative 6 though.
Yeah.
Because if you do 9 and 8, that would...
How'd you get the
This
13?
is why you guys use pen for your notes.
Trust us.
And you use mechanical
This is my math
pencils.
algebra.
I would, but
You guys should come to the 21st century.
Alright, what did we get?
12 and negative 6.
12 and negative 6. Yeah.
You
yeah,
could have broken 36 into 6 and 6. I mean...
I would, but then I forget.
Two and you got it, Rick.
2 and 18.
Stop
2 and
confusing
18.
me. Hold
Wow, Rick.
on. Yeah,
I want to
you
be
got
an
30.
astronaut. And they
No,
go
I
up.
don't want to do that. Hold on, just keep going. Just keep going. You've done 6 and 6 and you should have done.
Are we there yet?
Yeah, I'm not gonna advance.
And, it's 18.
Oh, no, so.
What was it again? 2 and 18. Girl,
Grace, the,
negative
it's
12.
really
Negative
not
6
that.
and
Grace, the answers are 6, negative 6,
Wait, what's
and positive 12.
What's tough? That's just they mean
What's
6.
happening?
Could I also have?
Where am I?
You should just not give Sam a gay.
What?
He doesn't deserve one.
Yes, I do.
At least you get a picture when you can.
Bruh.
Oh, I thought I'd never
Wow,
see the
that
day.
accusation.
Flashback like
Not
2
tough.
quarters.
She's not
No.
wrong. She isn't
Not
wrong.
tough, not
It's okay.
Not save me.
Unc is gone.
Congratulations, it's still insane.
Not Grace, it's mutual respect. CJ, we respect Grace. How did you get 13?
I was
A video got it too. Oh
Yeah, I changed it. It was 2 and 9.
Where you on 36 and another 2 was 13.
What I miss?
She was flushing and she was doing the little table.
You multiply.
Okay.
She remembers. I literally, you didn't know that.
Yeah.
So,
So
I don't wanna
you
hear yours.
didn't know that. So.
I just told Mr. Law my pencil sharpener's not working, so maybe he'll be able to come
Should
fix
I
it.
Mechanical pencil sharpener just doing class.
Yes.
Whether we don't have to hand crank it.
Alright, the next stuff in this section is solving the equation. What does that mean?
Solve an equation.
Solve the equation.
It's self-explanatory.
Y'all
I think
Y'all-
you that
There's an equation.
And you have to
Factor
figure out
it.
the answer.
No, that you answer.
So how do I do that though?
By doing that.
Find it.
Not that
X, I guess.
X and Y.
Maybe there's a solution.
If it goes with this stuff and you think about what we did yesterday,
Oh, factoring?
okay, we factor and then what?
Solve?
Solve.
How? What was our key thing yesterday we kept saying over and over again?
Divide.
Set
Up.
Oh.
Set a point.
each.
Did you?
Did we do the homework yesterday? Because,
Yeah,
like,
I
right
did.
now you're not convincing me that you did it.
Say that was
Tennis, buddy.
No.
You know, set points in math class. We're doing tennis.
Set each piece.
together.
Yes, thank you. Set each piece equal to 0.
Oh. I knew that, guys.
Clearly not.
I was testing you guys. Like always.
Alright, so 20. X squared minus 10x plus 21 equals 0. If we see that it's equal to 0, that tells us right away that we are going to be solving. So I've got to now incorporate this new stuff. Yesterday it was already factored for us. Now we have to factor it. Then we have to solve it. Now, on these ones, I would still recommend you check them. But if you don't, It'll be what it's going to be.
Okay.
I'm not going to check these for the sake of time because I can tell right away if they're right or wrong. But I would suggest that while you're getting used to it, you still check it before you start solving it out. There's also a way to check it at the end that I'll show you. That's another way in case you want to do something different. But I need to factor this first. So I need factors of 21 that give me negative 10. What would that be?
Negative 7 and negative 3.
Yep, negative 7 and negative 3. So x minus 7 and x minus 3. And it's equal to 0. If you just quickly want to look at it instead of like on these ones, I won't require you to show it out right now, but still just know on the quiz or the test, you should be checking them. I can look minus 7x minus 3x gives me a negative 10, and negative 7 and negative 3 give me a positive 21, so I know that I'm good. Okay, so now we set each piece equal to 0, and we solve. So x minus 7 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. So I add it over. So x equals 7, x equals 3. So now, another way that I can check this is I can plug these in up here, and if this comes out to be equal to 0, I will know that it is right. So, I can check it by saying, okay, 7 squared minus 10 what is happening?
Oh.
Minus,
Oh. He's not
Oh my
wrong.
goodness.
what's going on?
Toughness influenced the-
Minus 10 times 7 plus 21 equals 0. 7 squared is 49 minus
70.
70 plus 21. 21 and 49 is
Negative 21.
49 plus 21 is not negative 21.
I thought you said 49 minus 70.
Get it right, John. Yeah.
It's 70 minus 70 is 0, so that's good. And then I could check the other one. So 3 squared minus 10 times 3 plus 21. So that would be 9 minus 30 plus 21. Well, that ends up being 0, which is equal to 0. So I know that both of those are right. So another way that we can check it, our final answer, to see that those are right. Okay, and we could have done that with the ones yesterday also, but I think we were pretty good with that. So, but these ones that you need to factor and then solve, this is a really good way to check to make sure that you're doing them right. Not only that you are factoring correctly, but it also shows that you have the right final solution. So, questions on that one? Okay.
No.
Do a couple more here. 24. R squared plus 2r equals 24.
Oh, this one's different.
So, just like yesterday, I can't solve unless everything is on one side. It's got to be equal to 0 to use the zero factor property or the zero product property. So I need to move that 24 over. I do that by subtracting. So I will get r squared plus 2r minus 24 equals 0. Now I can factor this. I need factors of negative 24 that add up to 2. What two things multiply to equal negative 24 that also add up to positive 2? 12 and 2 would be equal to 14.
Something with 6 and
That
4,
would
I'd
be equal
imagine.
to 2.
Okay, well 6 plus 4 is 10.
4 and 6, I think. Negative 4 and 6.
So 6 minus 4 is 2, so that would make sense. So we've got r plus 6 and r minus 2. No, 4. Why did I write 2? So again, I can do a quick check here. 6 and negative 4 is negative 24. Plus 6r minus 4r is positive 2r. So a quick check, I did it that way and I'm good. And then I set each piece. So r plus 6 equals 0. R minus 4 equals 0. So I get r equals negative 6 and r equals positive 4. Now with this one, I can either check it in this one that I've manipulated, but if I know that sometimes I struggle with moving stuff around, I can actually check this in the original, and I just want the left side to be equal to 24. Okay, so another way, I'm only going to check one of them, but another way I could do this, I'm going to use 4 because it's easier. 4 squared plus 2 times 4 equals 24. So 16 plus 8 equals 24. 24 equals 24. So that's another good way to check it if you know that you struggle with moving things left to right, is to make sure that, you know, the number that you're plugging in to the very original equals the right side. Then you're good. Last one, then I'll give you guys some problems, or a little bit more we'll do with this section tomorrow, and probably have a worksheet tomorrow on this stuff, because I want to make sure that we're really, really good and solid on this before we move on to the harder section of this stuff. So this one is y squared. Yeah, we'll do this one. Minus 2y minus 8 equals 7. So what do you think I might need to do first?
Subtract and simplify.
Subtract 7. So y squared minus 2y, and then subtracting that will give me a negative 15 equals 0. So I've got y squared minus 2y minus 15 equals 0. So now I need factors of negative 15, so two numbers that multiply to give me negative 15 that add up to negative 2.
3 and negative 5.
5 and 3.
Yep, 3 and negative 5, because those two things added together will give me negative 2, and multiplied give me negative 15. So I'll have y plus 3 times y minus 5 equals 0. Again, I can do a quick check. Negative 5y plus 3y is negative 2y, and then 3 times negative 5 is negative 15, so I'm good there. So then, set each piece equal to 0, y plus 3 equals 0, and y minus 5 equals 0. So y equals negative 3, or y equals 5. So again, make sure paying attention to instructions. If they just want us to factor, we just need to factor and check. And then on the ones that say to actually solve the equation where they're equal to something, we want to get everything to one side, and then we want to factor it, and then do a quick check. And then obviously when we get to our final answer, we can check those into the original, make sure left side equals right side, and we're good to go. So like I said, we'll do a little bit more with this section tomorrow. But I do want you to go ahead and do these ones tonight for practice, because tomorrow you're going to have some worksheets and then a couple more problems out of this section that are just like a little bit harder. And before we move on Thursday to the next section. So problems, we're going to do 3 through 17 odd, and then 21, 25, and 27.